Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely transform the way you communicate at work. We are going to take a close look at how basic, blunt, and sometimes overly direct English can actually damage your professional image without you even realizing it. But more importantly, we're going to show you exactly how to level up those phrases into highly considerate, formal workplace communication that absolutely commands respect. Think of today as your ultimate workplace survival guide. We're going to tackle the 5 biggest communication hurdles you'll face in a typical workday. Asking for help, reporting technical issues, giving feedback and suggestions, owning your mistakes, and clarifying project deadlines. Starting with number 1, asking for help. Okay, let's dive right into this. Imagine it's first thing in the morning, you've just sat down at your desk with your coffee, and you instantly realize you need a favor from a coworker. So before you fire off that quick message, I want you to really think about the psychological impact of your words. How do you ask for assistance without accidentally sounding, incredibly demanding? It's a totally common fear, right? And for good reason. The words you choose right in this moment dictate whether your colleague sees you as a polite team player or a demanding disruption. You might think typing something like, "help me with this, please," is perfectly fine. I mean, it's got the magic word please in it, right? But here's the thing. In English, starting a sentence with a verb like help actually triggers an emergency response. It literally sounds like a crisis. So if your coworker drops everything to rush over and it turns out to be just a minor hiccup, you've just broken their trust. You signaled a 5-alarm fire when there wasn't one. So let's look at how we can level this up. Level 1 simply turns it into a yes or no question. Can you help me? Okay. Definitely better. But level 2 switches can to making it, could you help me? This is a game changer because it offers a polite possibility rather than demanding a test of their ability. And finally, level 3. This is your executive email standard. Would you be able to assist me when your schedule allows? Swapping help for assist and adding when your schedule allows shows absolute respect for their time. Moving on to number 2, reporting technical issues. We're hitting the midday slump now. You're working away, and suddenly, boom, your software crashes. You're staring at a frozen screen, and you desperately need to get a hold of the IT department. Now, if you reach out to IT and simply type, "it's not working," you are making a massive mistake. You can probably feel the cringe of this overly direct phrase just hearing it. It gives off an incredibly lazy impression. It implies you haven't looked for a solution, you haven't investigated, you literally just threw your hands up in the air and decided to scroll on your phone until someone else fixes it for you. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference a few words can make. Instead of that lazy impression of, "it's not working," compare it to, "there's a problem with the system." Being specific about what is actually broken is just basic professional courtesy. It immediately shifts your colleague's perception of you from a helpless complainer to a genuinely helpful reporter. Let's trace the progression of this up to the top tier. Level 1 identifies the problem. Level 2 softens it up a bit. "I've noticed an issue and wanted to bring it up." Pretty good. But level 3 is what you write when you want to sound incredibly professional. "I've encountered a technical issue and would appreciate your input to resolve it." Notice that word resolve? That is the highly formal, respected alternative to the blunt, demanding word fix. You also probably noticed the shift there from problem to issue. This is a really crucial piece of office psychology. In workplace vocabulary, we use the word issue to make problems sound smaller and way less threatening. A problem sounds like, we're losing customers. An issue just sounds like a tiny bump in the road. We soften our words to keep the whole team calm. All right, on to number 3, giving feedback and suggestions. Let's transition into the afternoon. You're sitting in a meeting and a colleague turns to you and asks for your honest opinion on their latest and, frankly, less than stellar piece of work. This is a universal, completely awkward workplace fear. How do you tell a teammate their idea needs serious work without accidentally offending them? I mean, you want to be helpful, sure, but you definitely do not want to start an office feud. Now, what's really interesting about this is how starting a critique with the word "you" acts like a targeted missile. "You should change this." It immediately places blame and strikes right at the person's ego. It implies that they are the problem, which, as you can guess, is going to make them instantly defensive and completely close them off to your actual advice. So, listen to this powerful linguistic shift. Level 1 changes "you" to "we." We could try a different approach. Just like that, you've instantly fostered team unity. Level 2 asks a question. What if we tried adjusting this here? This is clever because it offers the illusion of choice, which gets the results you want politely. And level 3? This is peak formality. I was thinking it might be beneficial to explore an alternative process. And hey, just between you and me, if we decode that ultra-formal jargon from level 3, Explore an alternative process is basically a brutally polite way of doing the exact opposite of what was originally suggested. It sounds incredibly collaborative, but underneath, it just means I don't like your option, let's go with mine. It is a masterful diplomatic tool. Section 4. Owning your mistakes. Now we're shifting to a high-stress scenario later in the day. Someone just discovered a major error on a shared project document. Tensions are running high.
If you look at the document and just blurt out, "It's not correct," you are going to make people instantly defensive. It's just aggressive. Everyone's instinct when they hear "it's not correct" is to immediately assume you're unfairly pointing fingers and blaming them for the failure.
This juxtaposition is incredibly important to understand. "It's not correct" starts the whole conversation off aggressively. But compare that to "I made a mistake here." Taking immediate personal responsibility is actually the culturally correct way to disarm tension in an English-speaking office. It shows proactive maturity. Look, people aren't going to fire you over a small mistake, but they will absolutely respect your honesty. Here's your escalation for handling those errors. Level 1 takes personal responsibility and offers a solution. Level 2 steps it up by using the more formal word, error. But Level 3 is absolutely fascinating. We'd like to apologize for the error. Notice how it strategically uses the word we. In formal client emails, when you're representing the business, you shift to we to share company-wide responsibility. It presents a united, highly professional front. And finally, number 5, clarifying project deadlines. Let's introduce the very last scenario of the workday. You've been handed a project, but you need to figure out exactly when your boss actually expects it completed and sitting on their desk. So, the crucial point is this phrasing: when do I finish this? It honestly sounds incredibly lazy. It focuses entirely on I, rather than expressing any dedication to the actual work. It kind of makes it sound like you're just looking for an excuse to not start working on it until the absolute last minute. Here is how we fix it. Level 1 shifts the focus to the work itself. What's the deadline? Simple. Level 2 adds a polite buffer. Could you tell me when the deadline is? Now, there's a really vital grammatical trick happening here. Notice how we kick the verb is to the very end of the sentence. You never want to say, "Could you tell me what is the deadline?" because that's actually rudely firing 2 questions at someone at once. Finally, Level 3 caps it all off with formal confirmation language. Could you confirm the deadline for the completion of this project? Let's synthesize all of this into some truly actionable takeaways. These are your golden rules for business English. First, swap can for could or would to offer polite possibility. Second, shift away from I and you to the team-focused we. Third, always show respect for others' time with phrases like "when your schedule allows." And finally, remember that grammar trick to avoid aggressively asking 2 questions at once. We have covered a lot of ground today in this explainer, from morning requests all the way to afternoon deadlines. Which brings me to a final thought to leave you with. Are your daily workplace emails inadvertently sabotaging your professional image? The very next time you sit down to type a direct message to a colleague, challenge yourself to use these frameworks. A few tiny tweaks can drastically elevate how you are perceived. Thanks for joining me.